You know, it's been a year since I last shot this weapon, but let's give it a shot. Ready! Well, I've missed every shot. Whew. Must be improving. Getting some coffee. Did you hear something? Today I'm reviewing the Oklahoma Cyclone. It stars Bob Steele, Charles King, and Rita Ray. The director and writer John P. McCarthy previously made silent movies. Never heard of these people, but let's give it a chance. The film starts with a chase scene.
Go around. Head them off at the pass.
Huh? I don't speak Spanish, but can you possibly repeat that?
I've heard of Slippery Elm, but I never knew they rode a horse. You men cover the ranch. No, and you ain't in the habit of receiving an outlaw, are you?
I'm not kidding here, folks, but this film is mostly inaudible. To be fair, this was a low-budget western for its time, so I'm not expecting it to be a grand spectacle like The Big Trail. Right now, I will add subtitles for our benefit. But it doesn't mean the performances are all great.
I don't know who you are or where you came from. But I do know this is mighty fine coffee.
Yes, Mr. Jones, it's a new kind of coffee, roasted by a new secret process.
I do not see for why they chase you out of Mexico when you sing so beautiful. I think they keep you there with the señoritas.
Anyways, the fugitive named Jim Smith escapes from the posse. He is caught by McKim in the barn.
How would you like to double back and be a real good cowhand for a change? Of course, you'd have to stay undercover for a bit. And I'd get you a new outfit. Then I'll bring you in on the buckboard. And the Don will think you come here proper like. Well, what do you say?
Wait, Jim Smith happened to find another gang of outlaws? How lucky is that? Of course, he decides to join them as well. The next morning, we find out about these two. Jim is the Oklahoma Cyclone. The other wanted poster is the outlaw nicknamed the Black Diablo. I'm sure you know who it is. Mr. Smith is also a talented musician and singer, which is a big chunk of the story. It's not bad, but it overshadows the plot, so it comes across as an experimental film more than a coherent story.
And I kind of like him. You like him? Yeah. Well, I hate things. And ain't nothing I like better than hate.
Why do you guys hate his guts so much? I don't think there's really a good explanation in the film for this. I think it has to do something with jealousy.
It is because I wish for reason to receive in guitar. Pardon me.
Oh, I didn't hear it before.
Man, this audio is so bad that I had to listen to this scene twice, and I finally understood what was going on here. It's quite simple, actually. Carmelita likes Jim's music. So her father calls him over to sing to her.
The fall of the rain, with the lovers of one I left behind me, with love that won't change.
Sheesh, I wonder where this is going. So Carmelita and Jim are in love. However, in an earlier scene, McKim warned our protagonist,
Carmelita is my particular business.
the deal is officially broken. This makes McKim unhappy. Believe it or not, it really does not affect the relationship between these two. They don't lose trust or anything. Kind of pointless, I think. But it somewhat appears in this scene.
Seeing you're paralyzed, Rawhide, I'm tossing this harp in the air, and when it hits the ground, we're shooting from the leather. Come on, jump on him, Rawhide. Boss, I'm thinking this was a frame-up, and that you had something to do with it, or else you wouldn't have let that skunk insult the name of Carmelita.
At Carmelita's birthday party, she receives a letter from Jim saying, "This is my remembrance to you. I wish you happiness, mi querida. There are things a man cannot explain. He may, as I, not be worthy." The writer is sitting at a distance from the celebration. Then he sparks up a conversation with his henchman. Basically, they're friends now. Oh yeah, and they also talk about regrets, personal goals, etc. Not so interesting. Guess how long this drags. That same night, the Oklahoma Cyclone visits Carmelita. Now, the bad guys surround the house and he escapes. You know what? This scene is so poorly scripted and shot that I would have not even guessed that this was happening. Where are these people? Oh yeah, take a look at this. What's going on here? Why is it suddenly daytime now? By the way, this shot right here was reused from earlier. Remember what I said earlier? To be fair, this was a low-budget western for its time, so I'm not expecting it to be a grand spectacle like The Big Trail. Well, I take it back. There were far more competent sound films at this time, including low-budget ones. Here, take a look.
How much? 4 and 8 grains. I noticed that they were missing when I got home this afternoon.
You should see the ones Paul has drawn up. The sweetest little breakfast nook and the darlingest nursery.
Nonsense. You will do as I want.
Aren't you Steve O'Neill?
Why, yes. And aren't you Nita Madero?
Yes, Steve.
There are no excuses now, huh? The whole gang arrives in a saloon across the border to Mexico because I really don't care at this point. Anyways, they find the sheriff that they are looking for. Apparently he has been kidnapped by McKim.
Say, Henderson, I was afraid I wouldn't get to see you again before you croaked. Are you still hankering to jerk that rope around my neck?
Surprisingly, there was a plot twist. It turns out that Jim Smith is actually Jimmy Henderson. Yeah, I didn't get that either until I looked it up. Move on.
Dad. My boy.
The bad guys capture these two, and yes, there's an epic scene. Finally.
I'll get him, boys. I'm shooting fast for the first man that doesn't reach for the air. Get my gun, Sonny. Get back, Rawhide.
The good henchman dies. The end. Yep, this one was difficult to review. the terrible audio, the bad acting, the bad dialogue. It's basically, most of the part, unwatchable. I can summarize this movie in 3 words. Talk.
He has meant much to our happiness. And our happiness would be complete if you too were kind to him.
More talking.
I think you sing was beautiful, but it's simple. Let us have him come and entertain.
Even more talking.
And there's a prayer you can take. If you're listening, I'm listening.
Don't forget about the music. That's really about it. I can't really say much. There's not much of a plot. It's kind of lame. It just sits there. It gets boring. This film actually had potential, believe it or not. I actually believed it. That's all, folks. I can't take this anymore.
Light brown hair, blue eyes, stocky built, age 24.